Let's talk about the things that matter most, the difference that makes a difference. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. Welcome back, friend. Wonderful to see you. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Look, you could be a great actor and starve. You can write an amazing book that nobody reads. You could be a well-trained scrum master or coach and yet fail to make impact or deliver results that matter to your customer. I'm interested in the difference makers. Let's talk about those this week. But before we do that, let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. And remember, if this helps you, do me one favor and tell your friends. Now, we're also recruiting for the March 2023 cohort of The Forge. Click in the show notes below to attend an upcoming information session so I can tell you all about it. We're making heroes in there. Don't miss your chance to get these skills today. There are factors that determine whether or not you are the hero of the greatest story ever. The true badass shares a heritage with the greatest philosophers, thinkers, doers, and heroes across history. I'm working on a course and a book that solidifies years of research that I've done personally, research and practice in this field of not just excellence, but excellence simplified. The threads that connect all great leaders and doers across time. The good news is I've discovered that it's simpler than you think, or at least in concept. The hard part is trusting the core principles and then, of course, executing daily. But I want to share a few of them with you now because it'll be a while before the book comes out. Here are some of the factors that account for greatness across every single person who's done something that you admire, that you remember if you look into their stories, if you read their history, and you examine their mindset. These are the things that they all have in common. There are no exceptions to these rules, so they're worth paying attention to because they're probably going to teach us something really important about what we should be doing. Here's the first factor. Every true badass, every great hero fully commits. Their belief in what they're doing is unshakable. It's unquestionable. If you go in with a plan B or a plan B and C and D, if you're thinking about what you'll do if this doesn't work out, aside from a basic risk mitigation strategy, if that's the way your mind is set, you're far less likely to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. That could be a career goal for yourself. That could be an outcome for your team or your customer. It doesn't matter. Fully commit. You have to be 100% bought in to what you're about to do, or the chances are excellent that it won't work just based on that commitment alone. For this reason, the most memorable people that you know or read about commit big. They commit to grand goals and outcomes. Because why not? If the power and certainty of commitment is the first factor to achieving a goal, why not set up a big goal? Ambitious, never been done before, never been fixed before. These are the things that interest me. And I can tell you from experience that when you commit first and worry about the how later, most of the problems that you're worried about, that get you thinking small, that get you hedging your commitments, that get you thinking up excuses and alternative plans, completely disappear. Well, that begs the obvious question. If you commit without thinking about the how, isn't that suicidal? Nope. You'll find a way or make a way as you go. Now that requires the belief that whatever you might need, whatever might come up, you've already got it in you. There's nothing you have to go study or learn or discuss or contemplate or doubt. It's already there. People who achieve massive things, important, valuable outcomes, Whether that's in the political stage, whether that's at a global scale, or whether that's just within your company and your team, if you're achieving great things, permanent change, permanent results that matter, that inspire and delight people and make them happy to get up with their hair on fire and run to work every day, those people have the built-in belief that whatever comes up, I'll find a way. Look at it this way. If a problem isn't fixable, there's nothing that you can do about it. But if a problem is fixable, then the solution is finite and known somewhere by someone, which means all you got to do is look, ask questions, and you'll probably be able to figure it out. Next thing great leaders do, they insist on being measured. There has to be some kind of deadline or expectation, which is wildly unpopular in modern culture, but I think it's time to bring it back. People perform at their best when they know what they're shooting for, but also people perform at their best when the stakes are higher and known to them. If we know through experience that if we miss a target, it'll be okay. We can make an excuse. We can change red to yellow and then probably to green somehow, some way. If we know that we don't have to commit to Friday, we can just commit to someday. It's true, the world will permit you to put off your outcomes, but it won't reward you for doing so. And I'm not just talking about fiscal rewards or promotional rewards. I'm talking about the internal rewards. The sense that you can set a target, a measurable target. You can hold yourself accountable and you can accomplish it. But knowing as well that if you don't, you'll recover, you'll learn, you'll be able to do differently next time, and you're supported by your teammates and the leaders around you. Here's the next one. Whatever it is you're trying to achieve requires massive energy and work. There's no getting around it. There are no true hacks. The badass doesn't look for shortcuts because he or she knows that they don't exist. What wins every single time is consistency. In fact, consistency is so important that it beats volume every time. Nobody goes to the gym and says, I'm going to lose 30 pounds by sitting on this elliptical machine for the next 48 hours. You can't just go once a month and expect the results. But if you go, the latest study that I read suggests that as little as 11 minutes of medium-high intensity workout is all a person needs as long as you do it consistently, every day or 5 days a week. If you're trying to get somewhere, and especially if it's hard for you to do, for example, you're thinking about writing a book, you're thinking about picking up a new skill, you're worried about going through 1,000 old photographs and sorting them and digitizing them because it's just a massive amount of work and you don't see how you can ever get to the end of it. Do 10 minutes. Everyone can do 10 minutes. You can find an hour today to go on to Netflix. Waste your time on social media. Stare at the ceiling tiles. You can find 10 minutes to commit some energy to your most important outcome or outcomes. And it's the consistency of doing a little bit every day that gives you access to the multiplier effect, where just a small change of 1 or 2 or 10% daily very quickly becomes something huge. Here's one that will speak to the hearts of every Scrum Master and coach listening today. The process of doing, that is to say, the work, the hunkering down and coding, writing, designing, that matters way more than any amount of theory or thinking. Execute and deliver. Execute and deliver. What if we're executing incorrectly? What if we're delivering the wrong thing? You'll learn as you go. Because if your delivery process takes more time than actually delivering finished, valuable work, you're ripping off your clients and your customers. That means the amount of time we spend studying writing instead of writing, scratching our goatees over a perfect delivery process over actually delivering is largely wasted time. Nothing in human endeavor should be so complex and complicated that the process accounts for 75% of the effort. It just doesn't make any sense. We're not doing heart surgery here. We're not launching human souls into space. There are some things in life that require detailed, extensive study and review, and there are some things that just don't. Here's another thing that I've noticed all great people do religiously. They continue to refine and deepen their wisdom through study and practice. The greatest investment you can ever make is an investment in greatness. Well, hold up. I thought you just said that endless study was no good. The endless study of a process is of limited use, but what's of infinite use is study of self, self-awareness, self-excellence, self-actualization, becoming the greatest version of yourself through the knowledge and wisdom that's persisted over centuries, the knowledge and wisdom and simplicity that surround you in the everyday. Those are the things worth investing in. And I hope by listening to this podcast, you're beginning to realize that even a very small weekly investment in these ideas and putting them into practice is one of the most valuable things that you can do. These are the differences that make the difference. And in our age, if you want to stand out, if you want to be known, if you want to be selected, chosen, then you've got to have that difference. My friends, thank you as always for tuning in. You can find me at badassagile.com, on Instagram at badassagile, and in my Badass Agile communities. You can find the links in the show notes below. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, stay badass.